Okay, we're gonna we're gonna get rolling. Um, hey everybody, happy Friday! How is your day going? Has your week gone? And who's got the best weekend plans? It is not me. It's gonna be pretty low key, but welcome everybody. We are going to be shortly joined by Eric, and he's gonna help create some sense and sanity out of whatever I throw at you. So we are back to the Chapline Street Row uh, of houses. Please holler if there's any audio issues. I had to make some adjustments right before we were starting, but I think everything should be working out just fine. But I can't hear on your end, so you gotta let me know. This is gonna be fun. I have not really prepped this up. I don't know what we're gonna see here, so let's have this photo, and I know I believe Aaron, maybe even Eric may have just taken the next one in the row. Aaron probably opened it up to a poll. I'm not gonna ask. I'm just gonna do the far corner that we see here. I think that one with the turret and that should be pretty interesting. So that's what we're gonna do. That said, let's have a look at where we left off. And again, I'm not particularly seeing the chat. I'll keep an eye on it until Eric gets back. So Aaron modeled the Ackerman house, and then Eric jumped over here to the, is that Clives? Cleves? Don't ask me. We're gonna do the Wells house. I think I did draw a little bit this morning in one of our other meetings. I just started drawing the outline of a few of these, and we'll just keep going here. So, one thing that as I started drawing this, I don't know about y'all. If I'm trying to draw something that is kind of accurate, but we're not doing actual measurements and as builts. So I went to the model info and I turned my snapping and precision down to the inch. Something I rarely ever do, but for this, that way I can draw and just have whole inch increments, since that's going to be as close as we need to get. And we'll probably dial that back in a moment, but let's see. Let's get into it. I've got my reference here locked, and what should we do with this? What should we do? So let's take a moment and get some strategy going. We have the corner. Looks like this front facade is flat. This one is, so this, as best I can tell, we can treat the base of this round, and then up here, I think it's 10 sides. I don't suspect we'll get onto the side of this that much. Maybe we'll draw a few shapes just for representative. I don't know how much we'll get into the details either up here, but what to do? Okay. 1 second while I can't see. I think Eric is back, but he's not able to join me for some reason. Somehow the audio is I don't know, Eric, if you're in here. I cannot hear you. I don't know if anyone else can. I do see something that says shrink myself a little bit. Oh my gosh. Oh, here. How about a lot bit? I'm still on the main presenter. I forget that frequently. I forget to switch over. I can't believe y'all don't want my huge noggin in the modeling window. Thank you for that. Oh, good grief. All right. So let's see. The other thing that we had here is I think I found a reference to the floor plan, and you know what? I think we'll just wing it. Let's just start here. And we'll draw our basic shapes. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to turn this up to 48 sides. You know, the other thing I'm going to do, I think I made all these components. So if I rotate a copy of this up, we should be able to have these as reference. Bear with me one moment, just in case. I'm going to try to drop out and rejoin Eric, because I'm not sure why. So 1 second. I'm going to pop our welcome screen on. Okay, I think we're back. Eric, give us a shout out. Let's see if this is.
Yeah, but I still see the welcome screen, so you got to switch to the main screen.
No, we're there. I just want to make sure
Oh,
your audio is coming through.
yep. Hey, everybody, can you hear me? Thumbs up in the chat.
Adventures in live stream.
You just have to share your screen with me, Tyson, and we can continue. I don't hate to break up your flow. You were doing a great job. All right,
Let me know
everyone.
if we're
Thanks for your patience. Hopefully you can hear me now. I am moderating today, and usually I'm the one in front of the camera, so blame me. I must have pressed a button I shouldn't have.
Hey, you know what? It's Friday the 13th. I think we should expect that this would happen. So
now there's no pressure for Tyson, that we just carved away a few minutes of his time. So, hey, I'm going to facilitate. Everyone says they can hear me now. So I'm saying, hey, everyone, thanks for your support in the chat and your patience. Who knows what's going on? We're here, and it's Friday. Tyson, where were you? You have some setup stuff here, right? You were smart and did a little bit of tracing. Is that what you were saying while we were troubleshooting?
I did do a little tracing, and we're not going to do these houses. I just thought I'll trace some of those. Visually, it'll look kind of interesting.
Oh, nice job tracing.
So we get. Well, you know what? Let me confess. Eric this morning was presenting some work he had done, and I traced this while he was presenting his work because I was half listening.
Yeah, and I will
Sorry,
pretend
Eric.
not to be offended.
Okay. I appreciate that.
All right, we got everyone coming in. We got Aaron from the Netherlands. I don't know if you remember, that's why we switched our schedule up a little bit. He's over there for Base Camp Benelux, which is in the Netherlands. So thanks for joining us, Aaron. I don't know what time it is out there, but I'm guessing it's getting late for you.
Yeah. Hopefully things are going well over there.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, base camps are always so much fun. So I'm a bit jealous that we're not over there with them. But I'm
Agreed.
with you, so can't complain.
That's nice of you to say. We do know where you would rather be, and I agree with that.
Yeah. So what are you doing here? You're starting with the what do you call this thing? A turret, or is this just a like a bay window? What would you call this sort of part that you're working on now?
You know what? Let's ask people smarter than us. What do we call this? Is this called a turret when it's? I that's what I've called it, but yeah, is this a turret? I think so. Do tell us. What should we call this? Corner round.
How many sides does it have? Is it an octagon? Is that
I think it's 10.
It's 10.
Like if you look. Yeah, I think it's 10. We're gonna go with 10. I thought so too. I thought, oh, good, a nice octagon. I think it's actually 10. And I'm kind of just roughing out, like, let's rough out the general relativity. That's what we're tackling now on live modeling. We're tackling Einstein's general relativity. We're gonna. So I'm gonna guess. Don't know. But we're going to say that the front of this house.
There are some responses to our question. It could be considered a nook or a round pointy bit. Chip, thank you. That was very helpful. Or a rotunda from Andy.
Sounds scientific.
Yeah, very scientific. We'll call it the round pointy bit. We'll go with that.
Oh yeah. It's the round pointy bit. That's the bit that's pointy. That's the bit that's round. It checks out. This
so why
is like
this corner one, Tyson. You could have done any of the ones in between the first two and along the row.
Well, I should have chosen this one. I should have chosen this one that's all windows, all the same windows. That's what
that
a
would have been
smart
easy.
person would have done.
You went with the more difficult one, so I commend you for that.
Like a chump.
Nathan says turret is correct. I think that's the closest. I think I'm going to go with that since that's the name that I threw out. So Nathan, thanks for backing me up.
All right, cool. That's what we're going to go with. Let's see. So we've got our general massing. This is definitely not a blank canvas, but I still feel a little bit like I'm staring down a blank canvas of like where to start that's not going to get me into trouble.
The beginning is usually the best place to start.
Yes, there's no beginning to this. But thank you for the Sound of Music reference. Are you gonna start singing?
I wasn't gonna sing it. I was just gonna
okay.
say it almost looks like two houses. They have two doors. So is that one house or is that two, like a townhouse?
Right? That is kind of interesting that you've got two entryways, two sets of stairs, as you would need to. Almost like it was set up potentially for a private entrance or a guest entrance or something. It is curious. Okay, we're gonna start with this flat facade. Gotta get rolling. Get rolling.
Well, if you need some time to think, I can throw out some fun facts about this house, or I can give you some suggestions if that's helpful.
I would love both of those things. I would love suggestions from anybody. By all means.
Yeah, in the chat. Okay, so the chip says start with the ground and work your way up. You also could do a window off to the side and build it as a component, knowing that you can place them later. Or, and I can only speak from my experience, the way that I did it was, man, where did I start? I bounced around a lot. Don't listen to me. Actually, my advice is terrible. You start wherever you feel most comfortable. Just anything.
You go back to it and you're like, no, actually, it was terrible. Don't do what I did.
Yeah, I mean, the windows,
I say, not as I do.
Punching some holes. I like to punch holes and stuff, so maybe that's where I would just extrude a starting volume and then throw some holes in it.
I am going to build this front facade. So I'm going to start there.
And while you're doing that, I will say that this is the Edgar Wells house for those history buffs out there. It's built in 1889. And for those that don't know Edgar Wells, which why would you?
What? Who doesn't know Edgar Wells? I don't understand.
And he was part of the firm Cleves, Craft and Company, working around 1889. And so Cleves was the house that I built down the street.
Yeah, the one you did.
And Edgar. Now this must be nice. We can't really do this today, but wouldn't that be awesome if you could just like get an empty block and just be like, I'm going to build my own house there, and my partner or my buddy and my friends and my family members can have a house too. It's a little bit harder nowadays to just design and build your own house.
It is. You know what is a little curious to me? I might have to turn these other houses off while we're drawing. I love switching back and forth between X-ray mode, especially on something like this, but it is kind of acting slow, so
I would totally turn those ones off. You don't need them. Do you have a shortcut for X-ray? Because that's one of those few that I have not added a shortcut for yet.
I absolutely do. I'm surprised you haven't. I love toggling between X-ray.
Yeah, I'm going to let's see here. How do I do a poll? It's been a while since I've done this. I'm going to start a poll while Tyson's just kind of getting rolling. What? Oh, wait, let's see here. So, is your favorite? I'm going to spell this the UK way. Shortcut. Favorite or most used? I guess that's probably the same thing. Most used shortcut key. So let me give some answers. Give me a second. I'm going to come up with some answers here. Add a couple options for, let's see, what other things do I use shortcuts for? Hidden geometry. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I am still running a little slow. Guess we'll just deal with it. Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to throw a poll out there just to see of the handful of ones that came to my mind on the spur of the moment, which shortcuts do you find the most useful? And I bet there's going to be a bunch that I didn't think of. Somebody already said paste in place, so there you go. I use paste in place all the time.
That's true.
I use a shortcut for look around. That's I also use a shortcut for, see what I'm thinking of. I'm actually visualizing some of them right now. You can tell me to be quiet, Tyson, if I'm distracting you. I'm just talking.
Nope, carry on.
Tyson and I go way back. He can tell me to be quiet anytime, and I won't take it personally.
That's not true. I have sent you off to the corner crying many times.
That's right. He gets me riled up when he calls me a landscaper, because my background is in landscape architecture, and you've heard me several times I tell him, no, landscape architecture is not the same as landscaping. They're two different professions. They're both relevant. They're both needed.
But Eric is a landscape architect, and he will not. Yep. I think we've talked about that before. That is your button. That is so easy.
Yeah, see, I pushed it myself there. So I actually saved you the time. So the poll is coming through here. For those, sorry for those that are watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or X. If you are, then you might not be able to see our poll, but I did ask our YouTube audience, what is one of your favorite shortcuts? And I didn't mean to exclude all of the many that, of course, that you have that are custom, but I threw a few out there, and I'm seeing the results come in now. Nice. So if you're watching on a different platform, and if you have any issues with the stream, or you want to participate in some of our polls, then just join us over at the YouTube channel. And, or hey, stay where you're at. We love to have you wherever you're coming in from and viewing from.
Oh, that's not doing what I wanted to do.
All right, I'm going to end that poll. I think everyone got a chance to weigh in. Let's see the results. Where are my poll results? There we go. From the ones that I threw out there, which is not very much, how many people use hide the rest of the model? 26% thought that was one of their favorites. 13% use and show hide hidden geometry. Only 8% of the people who responded love using the X-ray or use the X-ray shortcut. Paste in place wins 52%. For those that are not using paste in place, definitely. So Chip's asking, what are you doing, Tyson? So I'm going to be quiet and I want to hear from you.
I'm fumbling my way through indecision, clearly.
Is it analysis paralysis? Is that where we're at? Too many choices?
It's a bit of we were talking about this a little bit before. This type of house, super fun just to sort of sit down and model leisurely and just get lost in the details and take your time and see how accurate you want to go. When we do these live streams, the hubris still kicks in that says, oh, we can model that, no worries. But the reality kicks in, something like, despite a little bit of technical troubles, we're like half an hour in and I got nothing to show for it. So like getting flowing and not getting caught up in your own mind and in like accuracy and details that usually you want to get caught up in. That's what I'm doing is I'm trying to like get past a certain threshold of detail where it starts to look like I have something actually viable, and then I'll just start building. But yeah, I you know, please chime in on how much that relates or not, but it's this idea of we've got a limited amount of time, got to get rolling, and it is really hard to get out of your own way when you love, right, to get into the details. And like, I want to model this accurately, and I just move some geometry up here, and I don't know why it's not correctly melding into the wall. Oh, it's because see, this is terrible, gross geometry. I accidentally copied this, it looks like. And
some extra lines in there.
I got some extra lines in there.
With such a simple shape, when would you start over versus going in and trying to identify the problem and clean it up?
What did I do? See? Boo. Boo me. It's such a simple shape that we can easily clean this one up. We know what's going on here. But you're right. If it just refused to participate, might start again from scratch.
Yeah.
I might anyway. You know
that's
what?
That's annoying.
Goodbye. We'll do this a different way. Do it this way. I'm still going to use my reference.
I think the challenge, to be honest with you, is X-ray. We forget that X-ray, you can not only, it helps you see, but you can snap to something accidentally through the model. I mean, that's the advantage of X-ray versus using K, which is viewing K shortcuts, speaking of shortcuts, which is view back edges.
Yeah. I am tripping myself up. I am getting in my own way by trying to have a reference on the ground and one up here, and then building my model out here and having X-ray mode on. So this is my own. This is problems of my own making. I need to pick a lane, as they might say.
It's okay if you wanted to get rid of one of those and just work on one, and then at the end we can tilt it, kind of like an good old-fashioned Amish barn raising, where all at once the thing, you know what I mean? Once the pieces are in place, it sort of tilts up.
Right, and then it's like, there you go. Because I guess in my mind mentally, because this is a corner piece, and I plan to at least turn the corner, even though I don't plan to get onto detail onto that other side. I didn't look at this as a singular facade entirely, but I should probably start doing so, because my approach currently is kind of failing a little bit.
Do you do a lot of buildings, Tyson? I know you're woodworking and you're really good with objects. So how often do you do architecture, would you say, these days?
That probably, unless I want to offend the architects out there, because I don't do real architecture, kind of like, I don't do landscape. I love drawing buildings. They're usually like this, where it's the exterior and it doesn't go into a lot of depth. So yeah, I do them as often as these live models. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I like, I plugged it last time, so I won't go into too much detail, but we just launched this course on campus. That was drawing a model from just images that you can get online. And that was really kind of a fun process to go through that, because, especially in landscape, we sometimes tend to forget about the buildings. We just kind of sugar tube them. and they're there for, so you know where their footprint is, and you know kind of where the wall is and that kind of stuff. But we don't go into maybe a ton of detail, drawing window frames and just kind of that level of detail. So I think that's kind of fun if it's not something that you do regularly, just to kind of get out of that comfort zone and, start thinking about, yeah, how tall things are, how wide, what the offsets are, just kind of that level of detail.
I do, like I said earlier, this kind of project, it is a fun one just to redraw old stuff, existing buildings. All right, now I should have spent my time, instead of drawing the holiday house over here, I should have done the one that we were going to do today. And then, but that,
I'll say that I won't be offended if you switch to one of the ones you've already traced. If at any point you feel like you want to, since you've already got those elements drawn. I remember I'm speaking from my experience. I spent so much time tracing the image that I didn't get to put a lot of time modeling it, extruding and putting the little details and the follow me and all just those fun things. And so I just, I feel it. Getting a good trace takes time.
it's true. It's entirely true. Um,
A Smith song just came into my head, right? These things take time. So now I'm singing that in my head. I'm not going to sing it for you, but I'll sing it to myself.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm going to, this, this part, based on the image we have, I assume it's, faceted instead of actually like truly, trying to be a curve, but it's not protruding that far. So we're just going to kind of guess at how much.
Yeah, the nice thing is no one's going to question you if you say,
right? That's part's true.
We just say, okay. Sure.
So let's just. I did think it was funny when I did open up this model. I don't know about like what Aaron handed off to you, Eric, but immediately I opened the model. It has some of your tags, which you're really good about. It has your modeling style. It has your, Eric likes to model in an almost orthographic. He'll model in like a one point of view, but all of the telltale Eric stuff that I quickly was like, no, different style, different point of different view. That is kind of fun. I'd be curious because, right, that's one of those things. If you're working with some other people, you'd assume you'd kind of narrow in on that, but we have different working preferences that handing a model back and forth would just be like, no, we'd start arguing over, no, I don't like your orthographic modeling.
One way to get around that is to just copy the model and paste it into your own default template. So, or to import it like you would a component, because then what you're doing is you're not spending the time to edit somebody else's styles or recreate yours from scratch. If you have a template and everything is set the way you like it, then drag and drop it in. I mean, because I get it. That's the first thing I do most of the time, which probably annoys other people. But the first thing I do when I get a model from somebody else or from 3D Warehouse is go in and clean it up and sort of make it look the way I want it to look stylistically, so that it makes sense to me in my brain.
Yeah. I imagine most of us do.
It's an OCD thing, it's kind of like, nowadays in life, there's very few little things you can feel like you get full control over. You just got to kind of have to accept. But that's what I love about SketchUp. You see, when you get into SketchUp, not only are you creating something, whether it's from your imagination or it's from life, but you get to model, it however you want. If you want to take some artistic license here, which I hope you do in this today, do it. And then the same thing happens with just the way you want to work in SketchUp. You want to move the palettes around and change the custom keyboard shortcuts. You make it your own, make it your way, right? Like is that Burger King? Yeah, you have to sketch up your way. Sorry, that's where my brain goes. Is a bunch of 80s, music and 90s TV commercials.
Okay, I have a completely rando question that is not related to this at all, but I was thinking about it earlier today, and I know we have a few people in our watching crew that can answer this. So here's a different type of discussion as we just sort of model on. My wife and I recently were watching some Premier football in the UK, and we're enjoying it, and started saying, it would be fun from afar to just pick a team. We have no association at all with any of the teams, but it would be fun to have one anyway. Just pick a fan base. And so, who's over there and a big football fan and wants to advocate for one of the Premier League teams, and why? Because, is it a great team? Is it a great history? Is it a great community? It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of teams centered around London and the greater London area, and then farther away, you get more scattering and some more teams up north. But so, how about that for a discussion? And then obviously anybody from anywhere, because football is the most popular sport in the world, I think, just not in the U.S. But yeah. Let's get some feedback on what kind of and I'm saying football, obviously soccer. Us heathens here in the States, but what's the story out there?
So when you said football, you mean European football? So actually soccer. I just want to make sure I'm clear. I'm with you.
Correct. All Not right. Football as in U.S. football, as in we're from Denver. I'm from Denver. Broncos lost last night to to Kansas City, which wasn't entirely surprising, but yeah. No,
well, I think you're going to give the chat their own topic to keep busy, because already Dubs is saying, "Don't do it, Tyson." I don't know why, but don't go down that road. Apparently,
don't go down that road.
Madik is with us on YouTube saying Manchester. We got Arsenal. So again, Arsenal. Not me here, folks. This is yours, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Keggy's warning us that this is a dangerous question. You're.
I know we could start a fight, right? we could, but I want to know. I totally lost I want to know. And when you say Manchester, right? There's Manchester United, but then there's Man City. I'm just learning, and it's curious. It looks like kind of a fun alternate thing to follow. So yeah, we might start some fights, but let's have some fun fights. What's the story?
Yeah, it's Friday. We said there was going to be some spooky twists and turns here, so there's one for you. No, I'm just kidding. It's not spooky. It is. It is fun, and especially because we've got people that are from all over the world. So depending on where you are, you might be out, hopefully out and about. Maybe there's some football, as they say, playing on the television. Of course, if you've got us, you don't really need anything else when we're here live, right? You don't want any distractions. Is that a cutting component that you just used?
It is indeed.
So smart. I don't use those enough. Do they cut by default, or do you have to tell it to cut?
If you set it up to cut, if you have a cut in your surface, it is going to by default to a cutting.
Oh, I see. So you've already kind of pushed into a surface, or use the push-pull to kind of create that opening, and then when you make it, it remembers that setting. Okay. Well, maybe I am using cutting components, and I'm just not even thinking about it.
Maybe. I am a big fan of them. I know some people. Aaron has a little bit of mixed emotions because they can be a little finicky at times. No doubts there. But I love using them for stuff like this. They tend to work well for me. So I've trying to steer clear of actually tracing this over, and I am trying to more so just give myself some references to carry on the drawing with.
What would be interesting to try would be if this has clean enough line work that you may be able to turn it into a vector drawing, using software like Illustrator or some equivalent, and then import it as a DWG. I wonder how close you could get as far as the line work doing a conversion. Haven't tried that in a while. Sometimes it works pretty well, but sometimes with something that you really need straight lines, it doesn't always interpret it perfectly.
Right. It would definitely be worth trying, though, because, like you say, at least for rough reference, like we're doing.
I also keep thinking that at some point you can we'll have AI. We won't have to do any of this. You'll just select the image and say generate 3D model from image, and there you go. You won't need us anymore.
It'll be totally obsolete.
Yeah, then we'll literally just be sitting here talking about football.
I know. Where's the so Arsenal, Man City, anybody else got some very strong fan base out there?
Someone said, who was this? I have to go scroll back up in the chat because I read it and then I missed it. Who was it that said you need to ask Ryan Reynolds who to follow? Where was that comment?
Why do I need to ask Ryan Reynolds?
Ask Ryan Reynolds. I think he knows. Doesn't he own a soccer team?
He might partially. I don't know.
Peter. Thanks, Peter, for that one.
Yeah.
Wouldn't his answer be follow? Wouldn't he say follow my team? Is that the answer, or is it a riddle? I just don't know.
Yeah. Good.
So in completely different news, only because somehow you said football, and that reminded me of a lot of the news about actual American football, is that Taylor Swift has been bringing a lot of attention to a particular football team. And tomorrow, I think it's today actually, her her Eras concert film is coming out in theaters, breaking all kinds of records. No, wait. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was going to give you a tip, but I'm not going to do that because that's not my job.
Why not?
No, because I'm not backseat modeling. It's hard, though. It's hard not to.
Yes, but a suggestion, I don't have to take it.
That's true. Still, my suggestion was don't copy and paste that. Put it inside of the component below. Put it inside of the window component.
Here's the thing let's try that.
In the middle of
I think that the thing will run into. If this was external, it'd work fine. Like this.
Yeah.
We can't cut two separate openings in one cutting component that I'm aware of.
Really?
That's why I did not do that. I think if we try it, let's say like this and like this.
And you made two different components. You placed one inside of another. Shouldn't it retain all that information?
Let's see. All right, this one's going to work. So far, Eric, you are correct.
Okay.
So then,
I don't want to derail you. Excuse me. I don't want to confuse you, but I would just copy that and paste it into the window below, and it should show up in all three.
Hey, you are right.
Hey, paste in place, folks. Right? Didn't have them win the poll earlier?
Just cut off. Oh, that would fit today. I think my headphones just cut off. Cool. They're off. Pause for a moment because I can't hear anything.
No.
This is par for the course. It's easy enough to swap the headphones out, but then we get echo if I put it through my speakers. So I'm going to see if I can get a second pair hooked up here. Just a sec.
Am I still coming in, Tyson? Or did you lose me too?
And one more second, and then we'll see if this will allow me to swap over. Eric, can you hear me okay?
And I can hear you.
Okay. How's the audio out there? Are we good?
We're good. You're still do I have to press play again on the stream?
No, we never stopped.
Oh, you never stopped. Okay, that's right. Sorry, I've got too many. I'm like 3 stream. I'm looking at Restream. I'm looking at YouTube. I'm looking at your screen. I got way too many screens here. Yep, we're good.
Yeah, and what we should be talking about is baseball because we are hitting it out of the park today. Good night. I've got 3 windows and a silo in an hour. We are just like totally killing it. I should not have gone last.
I did say, yeah, in the forums that you were going last, but you're not least. So you've got to, we'll do this.
So you're wrong.
I believe
you're
in
wrong.
You.
That's great. That's great.
Support each other.
Thanks.
We support each other over here at SketchUp.
Oh goodness.
At least you're having fun.
All right. We are. We'll still have some fun. We'll get something done. It just may not be much. We'll see. In any case. So let's see if we can cut some windows into our turret. Now, how many? I think 3. Let's look at a reference photo here. Just got the three windows. So we'll just place those as we like.
Yeah, the nice thing about Windows is that you can make them components. So you just got to make the one.
Well, and
you have more than one window, huh?
We will make them a component. If we want depth in this cylinder, we're going to have to cut that out, is what I'm thinking. And we will... So I have one there. I don't know. We had one. I'm basing this off of putting one, 45 on that corner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, yeah, let's make these 60.
I'm with
so they won't face exactly each, the street per se. Yeah, that's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, whatever you want to
Well, I
go
know
with.
I'm driving, but
well, my theory is that, like, unless I really, really disagree, I'm gonna go with it because it's easier that way. But if it's like really wrong, then I'll definitely chime in and say, no, that's not gonna work.
No.
But I think that's great.
No. You crazy?
No, back it up. No, we're not. No, we're moving forward. You're making some progress. Last thing I'm going to do is tell you to do something over again. Whenever we do these in 3D, I always think, like, not only these buildings were drawn by hand. I mean, this is 1889, and then built just with the hand sketches. And that's just, everyone knew what they needed to do back then. Now it's like I don't know, it's pretty impressive to me. I think whenever I think about that.
It is impressive. This image that we're working off of, right, is not based on any of the original drawings. It's it was drawn in the 80s, 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And these were built much farther back. I would love, like you, to be like, because they must have so many things on the details or something that's like, how are they, all of these windows, are they using common standards for windows, or are they drawn out and they're going to be exactly 1.25 inch frame, custom made, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Some of it has to be like, those aren't standard windows. So I'm curious with you. It's impressive.
I think
But
it just
hey,
has more. It's the builders. They were craftspeople. Do you know what I mean? Like they specialized in their trades. They knew you could just give them a drawing, they would know. I mean, I know that you have to do detailed drawings still, and the architect was very more hands-on, like as far as being on site more, because you had to be, to make those kinds of decisions where the drawings maybe didn't show something. But I think the tradespeople, my guess is that they were just so much more knowledgeable. And that's actually, I have to be careful how I say that, because I don't mean more knowledgeable, because of course now with construction it's so much more complex and we have technology, so there's actually more knowledge. But there's something about sort of the the traditional crafts that they just, you trust people to know what to do in these situations. That's what I'm trying to say.
I just did a skill builder on Boolean operations, and it was long and lengthy, but one of the things that I came away with is for something like this, the Bool Pro that Mindsight Studio builds. Is pretty impressive. It allows me to build this a little faster. Anyway. So I know I made that cut out that big, so I will make my window based on that. So here's where we're just going to riff, be like, it's going to be something like this and like this and like this.
Yeah, I like riffing. I also call it fudging, we can just fudge it. My wife makes fun of me because when I'm really going, I use the term jamming. Like I'm jamming tonight, or I got to jam for a bit. Like that's when I know I'm going to go into my go mode. And then she laughs. She makes fun of me every single time. And I was like, stop, like I need this, because you got to kind of work yourself up when you're going to get into a rhythm. Like if you're going to go render, for like 2 straight hours or 3 straight hours, it's like, yeah, I'm jamming. So, let me do it. You can riff,
let me
jam,
have
whatever.
this. Let me have this.
Yeah, just let me have this. Right? Exactly. I don't have that many wins these days. Just let me have this. If you're listening, she's not listening, so I'm not too worried. But I was going to say, love you, babe.
But let him have it.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks nice.
Okay, so it's that. Oh, it's because I've offset it out, and that I've got to be careful, because what I want to line up is this corner, and this is actually what. So that's what I should be aligning.
Do you ever get like frustrated modeling and you have to get up and walk away from the model for a little bit? Or do you feel like you can just like, I know you can't get up and walk away today because we're live.
Oh, yes, I can.
If you're on your own, like what are your tricks for like kind of resetting your brain when something's not maybe going exactly as it's planned?
I cuss a lot.
You cuss a lot. Oh, so we're taking away your coping mechanism right now. So that's
I know, exactly.
Oh yeah. I'll throw in some asterisks and some exclamation points and some ampersands and stuff into the chat for you, if that helps. We'll bleep it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I there's there's not much to cuss, even to be like, oh, it's not quite going like I'd hope, but that doesn't mean it's going necessarily wrong or misbehaving, right? It's all my own fault that you try and think how much you can get done and whether or not that's right. So, eh.
I wasn't implying in this
Who's to
model.
blame?
I wasn't suggesting anything. I was just curious more about like when you are on your own and no one's watching. How do you deal with things when? Because sometimes in SketchUp, I mean, like any program, sometimes things don't go the way you think they do, or sometimes you get a splat, you get a crash or something, and then you got to kind of take a deep breath and go, okay, it's fine, pivot.
True, right? Totally true.
Speaking of deep breath, I'm going to step away for just a second. So, Tyson, you're on your own.
No. Last time that happened, like everything blew up. Oh well. I think. I get this relatively looking okay with some detail, even if it's, totally fake detail. That'll help us out. I'm still actually kind of surprised. Maybe since I'm not watching the chat, maybe it did happen and Eric is just shielding me. I thought we were going to have some heated fistfights over best football teams. Y'all let me down. Who do I cheer for? Okay, I'm going to throw. All right. I want to get that detail in because I got to make these unique, but then I don't want to rework anything. Because it was just a little bit shorter up here. So, and I was careless in how I moved them. Let's try that again and be a little less careless.
I'm back if you need me for anything. I'm also happy to just sit and watch and listen.
Nah.
Well, something you and Aaron are better at than I am, which is talking while modeling. You'll notice when I do this, I talk constantly, but I'm describing what I'm doing. Because if you throw a question about football at me, I won't be able to like model and like talk about football at the same time. I could just talk about my model, or I could stop and talk about football.
Right? One or the other. Not both. You know what we're going to do with this is we need to use a little follow me action to get the detail rather than what we were doing before. So let's draw out a little bit of detail here. I'm not going to make as much here as there is, but something will. I'm still set to snap at 1-inch increments. And I'm just going to leave that alone rather than mess with it for now. But yeah, so we're not getting as much detail as we might, but that is totally fine. It'll be enough. There certainly wouldn't be an outward lip like that unless it had a, but we're going to let it be. Add that just for visual interest. And I think that will do it for us.
So that's a component, or that's a follow me to spin?
That's going to be our follow me.
Nice.
So let's get a 10-sided polygon, and we should be in business. Although, let me just change that so it pulls out that way. Okay, follow me. Let's see how well this fits up here. And because follow me, because using that, we don't have a central point. So I'm just creating one I can use to move this. And I was a little careless. This should be smaller. So I was a little careless in how we drew that, but in the interest of time, we'll just shrink it.
Now, I found that I love to use the scale tool to scale things, but I found that you have to be careful when if it's a component and you scale from the outside of the component, because then when you load the new component again, or if you do a save as, then you have a different scale than what it was first built at. So sometimes I trip myself up there scaling the outside. I usually do it just because it's faster.
Mm-hmm. Right, but you're scaling the outer shell rather than component definition, and then you forget. Guilty. For sure.
Reminds me of that quote from Austin Powers, that I also like to live dangerously.
You know what I think we'll do here? Like this transition is a little weird. We're just going to make it up. And we will offset that base. Which I should be able to select unless... Oops. Start that and I Make it just a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Makes sense.
that'll act as like a trim of sorts.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I get what you're throwing down. Yeah.
All right, let's throw some windows in there because windows are our friend. They're our easy detail, as we know.
You had a comment earlier about your boneyard, so it's nice to see that you've got a few things off to the side. I would hate to let our viewers down, those that are expecting, your normal working methods.
Yes. I shan't let you down. I leave residuals everywhere.
Yeah. No, you've been pretty good. I think that was the comment. You've been pretty pretty contained. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but yeah.
Not the usual for sure. Not as much as we might, but don't count your chickens yet.
That's right. Day is young. There's still time. You got a comment from YouTube that it took quite a while to get rolling, but now look at the, now we're seeing it. It's coming together quickly. And that's a point that I try to make, is that a lot of the work is in the setup. There's a lot of pre-planning to get things going. And then especially if you're working in pieces of components. And then as soon as you start putting in the little bits of detail and you start embedding, some components within a component, it just almost starts to build itself.
Thank goodness for that. Usually, we know this. Yeah, you can get something done, even if it's never as much as you thought you could or hoped you could. But you can get at least something done. Plus, that's why we come in and start doing things like follow me in Windows and components, where you can start to visually look like you've done more work than you have, because that's the stuff that pays off big for sure. But thanks. Yeah, there's a lot to be left that's undone over here, but at least having this turret with some detail is gonna visually make us look like we've done something more than we have.
I was reading about this house, and it was designed as a dual. What do you call it? They call it a two-family structure, so pretty much like a duplex. So if you, if you just did the one structure on the right, you'd satisfy the challenge that we gave ourselves to build a house each.
Nice. All right, then we're good.
There you go.
Thanks. I think I was building this window out, and I had the lower part down here. I was going to pull it out. That made me a little hesitant, because if I make this a cutting component, it still wants to cut through one surface. We just proved that I was wrong about we can have multiple cuts in one surface, but I have to be a little careful about building this on that corner. So I want to create my component first and then fill it out down here. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So do something like that. I'll add more detail in a moment. Let me double check my selection, because sure enough, at this point, got other stuff back there, but I think we should be able to create our component at this point. Yeah, that looks right.
And you're naming them, is that right?
I am, and
wow,
I'm
kudos
trying to be better about that. I'm not great, but trying.
I will say that if you use Outliner, or if you ever want to steal from yourself in the future, you'll be doing your future self a favor by giving him a name as you build it. Of course, you can always name it after the fact.
I wonder how many of these. Do one more over here. No, and in other good Eric fashion, I'm trying to get better about creating and using tags. Something you're very good at. I historically haven't used that much, so yeah. Trying to improve a little bit better. Okay. What do these windows even look like? They're pretty deep inset, and I'm not going to bother with how whatever's going on here. But yeah, let's just make them deep inset, a little bit of detail.
Yeah, that's nice. Are you giving them actual dimensions when you go, or do you just kind of say, hey, that looks about right? Like when you type in.
I still have a high snap turned on, and I made these each half an inch. Then at least they're kind of consistent, and they'll look relatively correct. But that's not related to anything, of course. Cool.
Yeah, I try to give round numbers when I can because, like, if I'm going to offset something, of course, you could just use the offset tool and eyeball it. But if possible, just typing in something like 2 inches or 3 inches, because then that way later I don't get these weird dimensions, excuse me, in layout where you go and then it's like 2 3/4 and 1/8 inch. But it all just depends on on what you're doing with it ultimately.
Yeah. Okay, let's throw some front doors in here because those are sort of heavily inset. So again, just trying to think of like the most variation we can get, which will kind of give us visually more interest since we're not going to get all of the detail in here. But ideally, we can make 2 doors and we'll duplicate those. So that'll get some leverage out of that. I imagine this drives not just me crazy. that because of the nature of the drawing and that things aren't perfectly symmetrical or clean, you start drawing something like this where I'm going to make it symmetrical, but it doesn't appear so here. And you're like, just let it go. It's okay.
When I'm training, I say the same thing. Use the image as a guide, but use what you know is the right. Like if it's supposed to line up and it doesn't in the image, line it up. Do it in the model. Speaking of which, actually, what you were just doing there with the door, Chip in YouTube asked, why are you using the scale tool instead of the move when you were adjusting that rectangle?
Sometimes, and it's a little thing. I find I can use the scale tool because it has those nice big grips. And so it just works a little faster than trying to select that edge and then move it. So that's why. It's just when I'm manipulating particularly a rectangle, I often will jump to the scale tool because it's just a little faster, a little easier to grip, to snap to other geometry over here as opposed to using inference locking. So little things like that. It's just a little bit easier for me. That's because right, like it's the same as if you use the move tool, just a little bit easier in some situations, I find.
Chip says, cool, thanks. Good to know. There's a method to this man's madness.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. Hold it.
Well, I gotta throw a few digs at you. I can't be too complimentary during the stream.
That is too generous to say there's a method. Mostly stick with madness.
You have a reason. I think a rationale. Maybe that's a better term than a method.
Is this the Wells house? Okay, that's right. I was renaming. Okay.
Speaking of methods, for those that don't know this, Tyson did the fundamentals lessons on SketchUp Campus. So I would say that he does have quite a few methods to share, because if it's just madness and no methods, then you're all in a bunch of trouble who have taken that course. But I know there's some really good stuff out there. Check it out if you haven't. If you're new to SketchUp, learn.sketchup.com. Fundamentals.
If you are new, yeah, go have some fun. Hopefully it'll be helpful. Oh, you know what I need to do is I rarely use the stamp command, but this is one of the cases where it may just... And usually we would create something like this with, components or something else, but when we're just hacking our way through.
What are you doing here? You're working sorcery. What are you doing?
So I am just using the follow me tool to create a little bit of chamfer detail.
Yeah. It looked like it was almost like auto folding, because you were just doing it so fast. I couldn't see the follow me icon. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's why I say we wanted that little triangle on all of our pieces. And so one of the cases where it could actually use the stamp tool, because like I said, I do not find I'm using it that often, but it worked for us there. Okay, we are just completely hacking it at this point, and we're going to say, I have such a hard time just doing that, because does this door opening, is it right to the edge or is it wider? I want to go look, but I don't want to this idea. Plus I can't even tell. Somewhere between our drawing here and the reference, it's not entirely clear what's happening. So we make it up. Make it up anyway. I went to go try to be a little more accurate and still couldn't tell. So Oh well. I'm going to make that 4 foot. Just a little bit inset. That's going to go back.
I just had an idea for a live stream. I don't know who's going on Halloween this year, though. We haven't really planned that far ahead, have we? Don't let me
No, but if
interrupt
you
your
want it,
screen. If I want it,
yeah. Are you can lay claim to it right now, right? You can be like,
I could.
mine.
Well, actually, I might get it because if Aaron does, no, we're all going to do the 20th. So Aaron might want to take the 27th because he, I mean, it would be technically his if we don't count next week's because we're all going to be doing one together. Yeah, all right. We'll see. We'll battle it out next week and see who gets it.
You want to give us a hint, or you want to hold your cards close?
Well, I mean, it's not a hint. I was just saying that actually, I'm sure I'll after today, no one will want to see Chapline Street ever again. But something I enjoy doing is less modeling and more like looking for and customizing entourage. So the idea, if you think about almost like creating Halloween porch decorations, like almost like spooky scenes that you think of. Some people do corn mazes, other people do cemeteries and stuff. It'd be kind of cool to, I don't know, make like a whole trick or treat street, decorate it. Guards,
hey, Eric,
weeds, skeletons. We have a lot of fun.
You created these stairs in a way I can reuse them. Thanks, my man.
You're welcome. I told you to steal from the ones that are in there anytime if it helps, if it's helpful.
That's what I'm trying. Now, is this... Okay, it is component, so I'm going to make it unique and shave it off a little bit. All right. I tell you, this little, whatever it's called, outcropping. I like. There's so many fun little details in there. I want to do it, but I feel like we need to get at least the shape of the roofs and the basic blocks in place. But this thing, it still trips me up a bit. I can't quite tell how much of this is trying to be true curves versus flat surface. I don't know.
Yeah, somehow there's like a transition.
And what the heck is this? I do not know.
That's a sloped roof, isn't it?
Yeah. And it comes down into this thing, which which is drawn as this sort of dome. So yeah, the sloped roof coming down. There's some interesting things going on there that we don't quite have figured out based on our resources. Okay.
Keggy got me worried. He says I was digging your modeling. I was being mean about your modeling skills because I said after today, no one's going to want to see Chapline Row again. That was not a reference to you. That was because this is the third time we did this, and I'm calling it done. I'm saying nobody wants to see this again. It has nothing to do with you at all, Tyson. I clarified that in the chat. So
it could, and I'm not offended. I'm sort
No,
of
no, no.
I'm not necessarily uh I've taken some time to find my footing, and ouch.
No, when I do
But
get dig, I'm clear about it. I don't want to do one accidentally, and for sure, I want to make sure that we're being fair and that we're fair and appropriate when we give each other some shade. Definitely,
uh,
definitely not. I'm always complimenting Tyson. You guys know when I'm streaming. Every time I do inference locking or anything to do with the follow me tool, I'm giving Tyson props for teaching me how to use the tools properly.
trying to anyway. You are a difficult student.
Yeah, I can be a bit headstrong, but this is but this is the fun about having different people do these, right? I mean, we can do them differently, do them your way.
Exactly.
Exactly. Ed Zachary.
This goes back to this. This is one of those things by using the scale tool as opposed to the move tool. If I, depending on the shape you have, you can, sometimes get some weird geometry. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it throws you under. Anyway.
Love that you use the new flip tool. I'm still like trying to break my scale -1 habit because I know the flip is way faster.
I had to do the same. Had to break some old habits, but man, I am a fan. And is it Tiggs? No, somebody else
Keurig had one.
has. Yeah, Keurig's scale tool or flip tool is also phenomenal. So like if you stick to that one because it's what you know. But I'm a fan of our new flip tool. I just love the visual feedback. I love how quickly and easily it is to use. I love how predictable it is when you're scaling, mirroring something.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows that during the last point release, I think they added a custom flip plane, which is the magenta, which
Yeah,
is super helpful when you're not just doing symmetrical stuff.
it is. So
Chip, we're getting some love for the flip tool in the chat. Chip and Peter.
appropriately so. So thanks. Sometimes some of our dev folks will put our live streams up off in the corner while they're coding away. So if anybody is, thanks, dev team. You guys are rock stars. Um, darn it. There is just some interesting undulating details going on here. Super interesting. Super not going to be able to knock that out. Oh well. Oh well.
And we could do a whole stream devoted to just taking a basic model and adding all of these ornamental details. I mean, I can see using solid tools to create some interesting shapes, maybe even using the freehand tool or something like Artisan, the organic tool set, to do some sculpting. I mean, I think there's a whole stream just in the stuff that we're not getting to here.
Oh, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see talking about I think it was Mindsight Studios. I don't know that it would work for this, but they just released a new tool that was like this automatic hip roof builder. You had all the shape. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, I don't exactly know how it works because it looks again like voodoo magic because it's just you click something and then a roof shows up and it's like, whoa, wait, how'd you do that? So got to do a little more digging because I think it just came out this week.
But I was curious on, some of these shapes like this, where it would work and where it would fail if you were trying to create. Like, I assume it's not going to interpolate something like this correctly, but I still want to try it just to be like, where might it work? In some circumstances, maybe you could pull some curving or other shapes out. Maybe not at all, but it's fun to experiment with that. Let's see if I can.
That's sneaky. That was the hide rest model. Is that a shortcut that you can toggle things on and off?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Noise. Noise.
Noise.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I mean, once those windows are in right below there, I mean, that'll, you won't have that blank spot. That'll be, really start to come together pretty quick.
yeah. So let's see, where do those go?
Yeah, this is the time with 20 minutes left where I always hate this part because there's so many things I want to do. And I know that I could probably get to one or two of them. And I've got a really bad habit of not getting to all the things that I want to do at this point.
Right. Oh, indeed. Okay, so we're gonna pretend we're really gonna hack uh, non-referenced stuff.
Dubs on YouTube's asking, when's the last time you saved?
Oh, goodness. Well, I will thank Eric and Aaron because they just handed me their model. So if nothing else, my autosave was within the last few minutes. But I just did. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. Now I wonder if I can do this. See, my windows are sticking with me if I want to pull this out a little farther.
Whoa, nice.
How do I want? Which is the best way to do this? Love thinking out loud.
Oh, good, because I wasn't going to answer that.
Please? So let's see if I Okay, reference this guy. You know what? Since I've got it out here, I will just, it's going to make it perpendicular to this edge. So use follow me to create our initial shape, and then we'll clean it up with just the old hand tools. So use some inference locking. That's nice and far, but we're going to go with it because it's just what it's gonna be. And this one.
Your memory is a lot better than mine because I would have to look at the image like every 5 seconds to remember what's going on.
This is not what's going on. We've gone completely into
going off
script. We've gone off script. We've gone way off script here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, no. We are making stuff up in the final realm of whatever we want to call this. Now that we've got that, I wonder if we can. What is connected here? We should be able to.
Oh, is there still a line in there that's breaking it?
Yeah, that one. So yeah. We should be able to tilt this up just a little bit, and got one over here too, but we can fix that.
Jason, are you just joining us now? Someone just said, Jason on YouTube said hi. Hey, that reminds me though, these are recorded. We do post them afterwards. So if you didn't catch the beginning, go back. See how we got here.
Hey, but welcome.
Yeah, but welcome, exactly.
You've been stopping in for just a little while.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, we're definitely in the realm of just making stuff up here.
Speaking, that reminds me, would this be something that would be better for like a match photo task? If you did this from again, Whoa. You know, rather than like the architectural elevations that we have, how would you what's your thoughts on match photo?
Ooh, this would be a challenging match photo.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these would work beautifully with match photo. First of all, this whole, like, you know, if it's not obvious, right? The street, of course. So these work their way up the street. So you want to be careful about which. You can't use the base. And then there's not a lot of long pieces to use as your perspective guides.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, with a couple photos from different sides, you could certainly get something that would, you know, yeah, you could make it work. It would just, this one would be a good challenge because certainly older buildings stuff is not parallel, so you'd still be interpolating a lot, which is what your course was just on. It'd be interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you there. I was just curious, but we can just like, you know, like if you really had your choice rather than given the model that we were working on, if that would be the preferred starting method.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's almost hard, right? Because who would do unless you just enjoy, and some people do, modeling historic buildings. Let's say just for preservation or your own interest. And so accuracy within, let's say your accuracy is give or take, let's say 2 inches or something like that. The beauty of match photo is that you don't have to even go. It helps to have other references, but you don't have to use what we're doing, which is like, what if your building doesn't have a nice drawing from that somebody completed? You can still make it work. So that's the nice part about match photos. You can just walk up, take a few pictures, and have a pretty solid start. I'm laughing at myself because I thought I was all clever before on how I matched the building to this roof, but then when I looked at the roof again, the roof has this whole, it comes down all the way, so it was completely unnecessary to match it up. Oops. I'm going to undo that. But I'll leave my line work just because I did it. That's ridiculous. No. You know what I will do? I'm going to put these windows in this surface, and I'm going to need one surface. So I want this to act. I'm talking out loud again because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. I don't know without coming back here. I need to have this kind of side by side as a reference. So I think what we'll do is we will cut this down into the building for these windows. That's what we'll do. And we'll include those windows, and then that might be as far as we get today. Do I still have? Actually, I could just copy the windows from here over. That would probably be better. Even if we make them unique and change them up a little bit, that I think is going to work for us. There. Did our connection drop again, Eric, or are you just in
No,
awe?
I'm just letting you take us home. I'm in the zone with you. I'm like right there.
So
I actually like it when you narrate, when you're thinking out loud.
when you just sort of like this, blah, blah, blah. Something I want this to be bigger. It just looks more interesting. I don't like the length of our whatever awning or whatever we're going to call that. But we don't have time to fix. Looks like a very bad mustache. Okay, I tell you what. You know what we're going to do? We're going to call it good and try one last thing just for kicks and giggles.
Are you hiding that stuff or freezing it or just dumping it? You don't need it
I'm just
anymore?
deleting it. It was components anyway. If we wanted it, we could just flip this up again. I do want to... we're just going to match up your stuff back here. And like...
you probably want to need to move the house back a little bit to be in line with...
Oh, you're right.
I kind of pretended like the bottom of the, where the vertical and the horizontal comes together. I kind of pretended like that was the property line.
That's a good call. And I need to hold this whole thing together. You, not you. Let's move this back and suggest that it, it's back on the street a little bit. Well, I tell you what, I thought I was going to get farther than this. Ugh, good grief.
I said the same thing, and I'm curious. I don't remember what Aaron said at the end if he was expecting to get further. But when I did mine, yeah, that's exactly what I told you as we were getting started. Is that it's surprisingly tricky, and it does take a while to get especially if you're trying to be precise.
I'm never like that surprised that I don't. I just always am like, dang, why can't get farther along? Shoot. But so be it. So be it. We have a few minutes left. It is Friday the 13th. We hinted that we might try and do something spooky. So I'm going to try to do that.
So no jump scares because I hate those.
You don't like a good jump scare?
No, I'm kidding. It's just that, it's kind of expected nowadays to throw that in there. It's like, oh, of course, there's the cat, it's always the cat jumps out at you.
So I didn't have... not sure if we're going to need these or not. Okay, let me think for a sec. What I wanted to do, we're going to hack together... pull in a couple Halloweens ago. I was a little Joker.
Are you going to put yourself in the house?
So we're going to make a quick component. Let's explode this into it.
That is a little scary. Not gonna
lie. From a distance, it should be a little disturbing.
Yeah.
So let's make a really quick component here. Just be from a distance, so we're really oh my...
no, don't undo it.
I messed up my freehand line by tapping another key accidentally.
Oh no.
I played this Joker for a Comic-Con a few years back, and it's a big hit with certain people, and it was a lot of fun because walking around the floor, every Batman you encounter, right, immediately is coming up and throwing shade at you and pretending to punch me. And it is also fun because I'm bigger than most people. I'm taller and bigger than most people, so I'm always bigger than most of the people who are. But anyway, that said, it was a lot of fun too because Comic-Con is great. There's a lot of stuff kids, and kids are understandably terrified of the Joker. Right.
As they should be.
As they should be.
Well, we've got some competition for next year's scale figure. Then we've got who do we have right now? It's Lily and Heather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was going to say, you might be in the running as Joker.
Sweet.
Every time you open up SketchUp.
It's the only way I make it in.
Tyson is Joker.
Okay, so I had two ideas. I had two thoughts on how to make, do something kind of interesting with this. I don't know if either one's going to work, but let's find out. Okay, first of all, clearly need to scale down. So thought number one is we had something like this, and I want to create sort of an undulating edge.
Not sure where you're going with this.
Well, if it doesn't work, if it horribly fails, we shall see. And let's pick darkest, sort of make it kind of green, maybe. And we want to turn the opacity down. So I'm going to group this and hide the edges. Then I'm going to make a copy of this. Scale it maybe.
Is this like some sort of ghosty fog kind of
thing? A sort, yeah. That's, maybe something like that. We don't have time to really stretch out how well this could work, but we'll see. Let me see. Try now. And we're going to take this, group it, and then move it.
Getting spookier.
What's that?
So it's starting to get even spookier.
I think I'm going to turn the opacity on some of these up a little bit, but okay, let's just see if this idea works. One of the things that many of you will know is that you can create animated sections. So if I create some scenes, don't generate those. I want to start by just turning everything off so I can build my scenes out. let's create a couple scenes. So scene 3 and scene 4. And then I'm going to embed inside here a section plane. From here. Okay. And then I want another section plane. So on scene 3, say scene 3, active section planes. And on scene 4, I want this one to be my active section plane.
So it reveals itself going from
so it reveals, yeah. So we have, and okay, so that's working. Now on both of these, let's turn off that, and let's turn off
probably the section cut line, like it has a thicker black line. Oh yeah, did you already turn that off?
No, you're right. That's what let's turn off is that.
Yeah.
So I do want the section plane off. That's under styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So under styles, section lines, section line width. Can we just turn it to 0? Or we'll also make it like something. I think this would work better if we created a couple versions of this with different sections at different places, so that the speed was different, but all of the sections. So it would take a little more to set this up, but let's just see if we stick this up in the window.
Is it a slide? Is it something that you can change in the transition time, or no, because you don't have transitions?
We will make the transition a bit longer, but we would have to create multiple section cuts through different groups to get different timing working.
Yeah.
So, and that would just be a matter of spending some more time on it. With that said, so, okay, let's create a really quick, we need to create a spooky, where's our fog? Fog open, where is it? And then let's make our default style like that. The back color.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as you're doing that, you can change the back face color to something that looks like it's lit up, because it should be the back face on the inside of those.
Yeah, and I've put some window glass in here, and that's causing me a little bit of grief. That's a quick.
Peter says, "Oh, great, we've got a haunted house after all." So, see, you just be patient, and we'll get
there.
some spooks in there, yeah.
You know what we need to do is, for the time being, just move the copy down here. Why aren't are these?
They were probably
painted
not the
with default.
Yeah, they may be painted white instead of the default.
Okay, good.
Ooh, look at that.
So if we turn our fog back on, we create. Actually, yeah.
Well, you're going all out.
Okay, so if we do that, oh, you know what? My no, it'll still work. Okay, fog. Already, this is looking fun. So we have the setting here. Let's go to scene 3. We're gonna save our camera position, and then going down the row of houses, something like that. And scene 4, let's save our camera position. So we should have scene 3, scene 4. I'm not getting I lost. I okay. I wonder if oops. I may have lost this behavior because I put it inside another one, and so scene 3, scene 4. I lost my section reveal. Okay, you can see what I was trying to do.
I get where you're going with it.
We might just
that was ambitious to do. I like that. I like that. Go big or go home.
That's what we were trying to do. Is have a reveal. Ideally, you'd have a. We could do a reveal of one, and then it would swipe away and disappear again. So as we're going by the window, the person appears and disappears. That's what I would do with.
I think you just leave it in as an Easter egg.
But
you just find it. You're just like when we upload it to the 3D warehouse, and you just go, wait, what's that?
It's something though. Weird. I went and unhid all the stuff that I had hid previously, and now it's all going. Anyway, let's call it. We have a sort of spooky scene. This would be fun, Eric. This is where you could come back in and put some trees, dying trees, some lampposts, some lovely entourage, but but we did at least try to do a little Friday the 13th fun. So we'll say yay for that.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think we did it.
Well, anything that's coming up that is worth mentioning, or we'll just see everybody next time?
Yeah, next weekend we're going to be together. I said this. We've been saying this for a couple of weeks now because we're just that excited to, be live streaming in the same room. We don't know what that means yet. We keep saying like, what are we going to do with all of us in the same room? How are we going to do this? We don't know. So next week we can't really promote much other than saying that we'll be just as surprised as how we're going to pull it off as you will be.
Yeah, should be fun though. Absolutely. Hopefully, don't know what we'll do. Don't know if we'll model anything or if we'll just come by and say hi. But either way, thanks everybody for joining us this week. Thanks for hanging out, putting up with fumbling around for a bit. Still had fun. Fun to hang out. Fun to build whatever we did get.
Yep, all the comments are coming in saying nice job, thanks. Bring squirt guns. Yeah, thanks, Chip, for this recommendation. We'll see if TSA lets us on the plane with them. But either way, you'll definitely have some fun. So hope to see you all back next week and the week after and after and after. So happy Friday, everyone. Be safe out there, of course. And yeah, take us home, Tyson.
Okay, that's it. That's all we got. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, everyone.